Hey everybody, today we're going to be making a fake or faux soft serve ice cream cone with some Easter decorations on it. And I 3D printed that cone because I couldn't find one at Dollar Tree, but there's a little kit there in the children's section and it has the ice cream cone in it. Or you could find something around the house, paper or, scrapbook paper or anything that you can make into a little cone type item. And I'm turning it upside down. I put tin foil in it and I'm turning this. I'm going to take make a circle in this plate, and I used a paper plate because it was just the right thickness, but you can use anything that you have around the house, a cereal box, any kind of lightweight cardboard that you find. It's just a little bit easier to cut and work with. So I'll take some time here, and what I'm going to be doing is sizing this up here, and I'll cut it a few times and just try to get it just right. And what we want is it to be recessed just a little bit, because we don't want all of that spackle, the lightweight spackle, being used up inside the cone. So that will, enable us to save the spackle, and then also we'll be able to pile up the spackle very high. So now I'm taking a paper towel. I've got the circle the size that I want it, and I'm filling in that extra space right there, and that looks like it's about right. A little bit hard to take out, and I'll try a couple more times here, and we'll take some hot glue, pour it all over the paper towel, and then get some of those edges in there too, so that the cardboard has something to stick to. And we'll just lightly press that down. And the ice cream cone that I 3D printed is a Thingiverse file, and I will link that down below. I also just want to make sure that everything is intact. And here's from Dollar Tree, they have these styrofoam balls. And what you do is you cut the ball in half, and then I'm just taking a regular plastic knife that I had around the house and kind of cutting it into a square shape. And I'll take these edges off here because it'll give me a little bit more of a rounded shape so that I could stack my spackle up pretty high. And I've got a little bit of a jagged edge here from the last cut that I did, and I'm just going to trim that up and get that sized up. And I want it about like that so that I can, have a little bit of room around the edges so that I could pile up my spackle. And just gonna hot glue that on. And I have it set down to low temp because the styrofoam will not adhere as well. So we want that low temp. And I've got some parchment paper, and here's my spackle. It's lightweight, and I got it from Walmart, and the other one is from Dollar Tree, and I was just running out of it. So I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I mixed both of them together, and we're going to get a good consistency here, mixing both of the spackles together. And I decided I wanted the soft serve ice cream to be light pink, and I mixed up some paint and, to the color that I wanted, and then put more paint in because I just wasn't, the spackle was just too light pink. You weren't seeing it at all. And I don't really have a light pink paint right now, so I was just making up one in that cup there with some red and white apple barrel paint that I had on hand, or Craft Smart actually. Now what I did here was I just put the red paint in because I thought, well, the spackle is white, so if I really want pink, I can just go and put that red paint in there. And that was really the best idea and what worked out the best to get the color that I wanted. So I'm just getting a good consistency here, and I want it to look really like soft serve ice cream, to be the consistency of soft serve ice cream. So I have my cup here that my son and I made a while back, and my Wilton bag here. This is probably its third time around, and maybe this time will be the last time for it. But I'm just buckling it up here around the edges and putting that in. And that all that does is just give me a holder so that I can scoop the spackle in. And that's all that cup does, really. And I've got a pretty large spoon that was just laying around the house here, and I've dedicated it to the fake bakes now. And so I have everything. I have all my spackle in the bag, and I'm just going to take these edges up, pull it out, get rid of the cup. We don't need the cup anymore for now. And I'm going to take my spoon and push that spackle down very close to the nozzle so that we are able to have that spackle down below and we won't have to squeeze so much along. The closer it is, the better. And I'm just doing a little test here just to make sure that we're good. And I'm going to hold the cone in my hand. I'm going to do that lower edge first. And I'm just going to go around just like soft serve ice cream, and I'm just going to spin this very, very slowly. And then I'm just squeezing the top of that bag, and then I'm going into my next layer here around. And I'm just buckling up a little bit here and just squeezing down a little bit further just to get all of that spackle to the end so it will come out exactly where I want it. And what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to make this a little bit higher. And I'm going to put a little bit of a dab right around the top. I want a little bit of a spoof on the top. There we go. All right. And there's my soft serve ice cream cone. I just love the way that it came out. It really looks like an ice cream cone. And the color is a little bit more pink than it shows on the screen. And you know, I don't like to ever leave spackle behind or waste any of it. It's very precious. So I got a little solo cup, and I'll put this, put some tin foil in it, and I'll have this as part of my tier tray, my spring tier tray. And with that leftover spackle, I'll make sort of a espresso type coffee topping. And I always like to make sure that I have one of these because I just think it adds color and it adds a little bit of spice to your tier tray. And I was over a little bit, so if you see I moved it, and I have a tendency to be over when I do this, so I just pushed it over with the nozzle. And as you can see, the other ice cream, or the original ice cream, is over a little bit, and each time I do one, I work on that. And these guys, what I did was I 3D printed these, and those files will be down below, except for the donut. I made that. And I just painted these up. I put yellow glitter on it, yellow paint. And I'm making these, I'm going to insert them into the styrofoam ball. So I'm making them pretty short. And I'm just getting the original hole. Sorry that I'm off screen a little bit. I was trying not to break the skewer stick. And just cutting a little bit lower now. And then the original hole that I had put that in, I just put that right back in. So here's my little guy here, my peep. And then I'll work along here and get, the next thing that I have that's off screen a little bit is an Easter egg that I painted. And I painted that Easter egg just with, and I'm just pushing a little bit of that soft serve ice cream up to the peep a little bit. And because I have seen part of the skewer stick. So here's my egg, and I just made some pink paint to the color that I wanted. And then I used my daughter and I made little dots of blue, like light blue that is. And that's, I believe that is the Craft Smart paint, because that's usually what I have, and Craft Smart paint in the light blue. And I'll wipe that off too, because I'm still sizing, still trying to get the right size. And I think that looks good. And then here's my donut. And what I did with that donut was I just 3D printed it, and then it kind of like, well, the size of, it looks like a large Lifesaver. And then I painted that beige, and then at the for the icing, that is the 3D paint from Dollar Tree, and it's the hot pink color. Now these, what I wanted to do was kind of hide these skewer sticks, and I really didn't want to paint them. So I had these straws left over from Valentine's Day from Dollar Tree, and I'm trimming those off, and the little ends that are exposed, what I'm doing is I'm taking those to, I'm pushing them on to cover it up. And then what I'll do here is just trim that off. Trimming it at a little bit of an angle, but I'm going to put it right back into that original hole that I made. It's easier to make a hole with the skewer stick first and then go back and do what you're going to do with a straw or something like that if you want to cover that up. But you can always paint it too if you don't have the straw that you want. And I'm still trimming those up, and I had 3 or 4 colors, so I just alternated the colors a little bit, and there we go. I just love the way that turned out. And I didn't have any of the items, so I did end up 3D printing them. And here I've got some, these are from Sally's Beauty. I used to put them on my nails, and I had them laying around, and I thought it would be so pretty. These are little, I know they're hard to see, but they're little yellow flowers. So I thought I would put those on and get some decorations on them. So I'm taking this stick that I have here that is it has like a sticky end, and I put all the little nail designs on the little flowers. And here I had some sprinkles that I made, and I did them with a extruder. They're clay, the sculpty clay, and I did them with the spaghetti extruder, and then I baked them, and then I cut them all up. And here what I'm doing is I have a bag of them left over, and what I did there was I cut some of them up smaller because they were still really big, and I wanted them shorter. So you can go and cut them up if you want with your scissors, because once they're baked, they're hardened, and you're able to make them any size that you want. And what I'm doing with these is I'm just placing some of them. And then here we have some glitter, and this is the iridescent glitter, and I got this years ago from Joann's, and I've had it forever. And I love the way that iridescent glitter gives that shine. And as I was putting it back, I did spill some, so I'm just going to cover it up. That parchment paper really helps. And then what I usually do is I just put it back in the little container when I'm done. Now here's our little guy, and I found some of those purple flowers again, and I'm putting the purple flowers on with my, I believe that they call that it was a quick cuts item, and but I have that linked below. It's just really comes in handy when you're trying to pick stuff up and get it on. I used to use it for rhinestones and everything. All right, and now what we'll do is we'll put some glitter on here. And this is pink glitter, and I just thought it would look so pretty with the pink icing. And I did make a mess here, and I will be cleaning that up, and I'll put that back in my bottle. And here I decided to make a gumball machine, sort of. And here's I used this matte ivory Rustoleum 2x ultra cover. And I really get good results from that. And what I did was I painted the top of that jar and the bottom. And I'm going to glue these two together, and I'm going to make a gumball machine. It's really going to be an Easter snacks for the Easter Bunny type of gumball machine. And I'm really generously putting the glue on because that's going to hold that glass part on. And I'm going to put some pressure on it. It's really hot in there, so I'm just kind of putting the pressure around the edges because the glue is very hot. So it looks like we've got a pretty good hold there. And then I'm just going to take that jar and put it back on. And there's our gumball machine. So far, well, besides the paint, $2.50. And then here's some celebrated ribbon I got a long time ago at Michael's. And here's some carrots from the Dollar Tree and some moss, all from the Dollar Tree. And I've got my carrots, and then I'm just going to take a bunch of this moss here, and I'm making a little treat gumball machine for rabbit treats. And I'm just going to shake this up a little bit because a lot of the carrots went to the top, that's where I wanted them. So I'm just going to move them around a little bit, and if you get too much of your moss in there, just take it out. And I did notice that if I work on parchment paper, that it was so much easier, because the moss is so messy and it used to take me forever to clean it up. And if you use the parchment paper, you can pretty much dump out whatever you have on it, and you can reuse it for your next project. With glitter I usually don't, but the carrots and the moss were fine. And I'm just shaking it up just to get them where I want them and make it look good. And just want it to look like they're in the gumball machine. And we're going to take a little bit of ribbon, and I wanted this to have a farmhouse look to it, but I did want it to have some colorful ribbon. And what I'll be able to do is reuse this gumball machine with that color year round, because it'll have that beige look to it, the ivory look. And so I just put some ribbon around and just cut off the tails. And here what I'm doing is just making a regular bow. It's a little bit easier for me to make a bow off to the side and then glue it on that way. Just put the tails on and do it, because it's one-sided ribbon, and it always is a little difficult because you'll see the plain side of it. So I'm just twisting it around and getting it just the way that I like it. But a lot of times, that happens with ribbon. It's printed only on one side, and it makes it a little bit more difficult, but we just have to improvise and twist things around a bit. And then I'm just going to press that on and hold that on until it stays glued, till I feel it's good. And then I did glue it off center a little bit from what I wanted to be the front. So I'm just going to give it a little twist, and it'll look just fine. And this tape here, I'm going to make like a little dispenser. And if you have anything, you can certainly do this on the Cricut, or you could do it with vinyl. But this is underlayment tape that we used for our air conditioner in our RV, and we just happen to have an extra pack, and I thought it'd be perfect. And I had to cut this a little bit short because when I was trying to do it, it was flashing into my camera, and it was making this really weird strobe effect. It was just catching it weird. So I cut this off a little bit, but you'll see it later. And I really just took the square and put it on the front. And when I do my end scene, you'll see it better. I just straightened it out. And here's how our fake bake ice cream cone turned out, and our bunny treats gumball machine. I just love them. We hope you make these and have as much fun as we did making ours. And if you do make them, please tag us on Instagram at Tranquilmentor. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.